Welcome back to the Out of Bounds podcast. I am Gavin Williams alongside
Charlie Caleri.
And today we got Week 10 recap, Week 11 picks.
Oh, yeah.
It was a good Week 10. Got some great games. We'll actually touch up on a couple of them, especially a couple games of the week.
Just a few.
Just a couple.
Not our we're not doing the normal, all 16 this week, even though there was only 14 games this week. Which, by the way, in the picks this week, I went 10-4, and Gavin went 9-5.
Yep.
So if you're keeping tally of our picks on our Instagram,
at Out of Bounds podcast with a dot between every single word,
Gavin's record is now 98-54 in the lead. 3 games in the lead.
3 games.
And my record is, if you're a math guy or girl, 95-57. Plenty of time.
I think
I gained a game this week.
You've been chipping away.
I have been chipping away. The last 2 weeks I've been chipping away. 2-3 weeks been chipping away, and I think we're poised for a playoff push here with 8 weeks left to go in the season.
Counting this upcoming week.
Counting week 11 coming up right here.
Starts tomorrow.
Yeah. So the picks were right this week. Not our best week. Not our worst week. Definitely not our worst week. Week 3 was pretty rough for both of us.
Yeah.
I remember that. But yeah, we're going to get into some of the games this week, including our game of the week, which we'll start off right here.
Let's kick it off right here. A week ago tomorrow was one of the greatest Thursday nights we've seen in a while. Long time. As of recent history, in my opinion, I think it's up there. That's why Thursday games are so forgettable. That's why I'm saying this one's going to be remembered just like the...
Just because they're kind of separate from the other games,
Yeah, just like the Packers-Lions when Aaron Rodgers had to throw up the Hail Mary on Thursday night. That's something nobody will forget. So... little game like that with a back-and-forth game with a combined over 800 yards passing between these two quarterbacks. One of the receivers, let's just say he had more than 250 yards receiving, 264 to be exact. That's Jamar Chase, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, and this is just a classic Thursday night primetime AFC North game. Bengals Ravens going at it. I mean, what else do you want from this division? They give us everything we want
every time,
including
every time.
Let me just point out, I personally was a fan of the Baltimore uniforms this week.
I was too.
They wore the all purple with their gold numbers, which they wear they were once a year in primetime. Yeah, they're on Sunday night primetime game. And they wore this year for the first time. They wore a purple helmet in their franchise history, first time. Purple helmet, gold face mask, and they have the bird logo on the side. Not the normal bird logo, but the one that's facing you head on. Pretty cool. I thought the helmets were cool. I thought they worked well with the jersey. I don't think I would like it.
the gold face mask.
I wouldn't like it on the normal jersey. I agree. I wouldn't like it with the normal jersey, I think, but as an alternate helmet and for a one-off for one game, I think it's a really good touch for the Ravens and a good little mix-up there. But that's my little uniform spiel right there. But yeah, on the Ravens side of this, obviously winning this game 35-34 in OT. Sorry, not in OT. Not in OT.
Let's just say
could have went to OT.
Let's say the exec produce wanted us to go to OT.
Lamar Jackson 290 yards, 4 touchdowns. Derrick Henry getting in the end zone again, and adding 68 yards on the ground. And I mean, this Wallace guy, man. Every time that they play in a primetime game, in those purple jerseys specifically, this guy goes off. Last year with the punt return, this year, I mean, what a game he had. Three catches for 115 yards, and of course the 84-yard bomb that he caught for a touchdown on 3 targets. By the way, he went 3 for 3, and for a deep ball guy like that, that's a pretty impressive stat. Credit to Lamar Jackson right there as well. But just a great game overall. Definitely looking forward to how the season's going to come down, especially in the AFC North with the Steelers and Ravens kind of battling out 1-2. Kind of separating the Bengals now with them losing a game, and falling to 4-6 now in that wild card hunt. We will talk about our mid-season predictions that we made last week, and then the playoff races that will be coming up soon as well. So,
we got some crazy half season left. We have to cover. We have to lock in because we have some serious games coming up this week, which, by the way, a lot of people will be happy about this week 11. Because the bye teams, I think a lot of people will be happy about. But we'll get into that later because right now we have to get into Kansas City hosting the Denver Broncos. Interesting game, to say the least. I think something that we weren't really expecting. It's an AFC West matchup, divisional game. Anything can happen. But that's not what I was saying. I'm saying low scoring. Low scoring. Final score of this one was 16-14 in favor of the Chiefs. They remain undefeated. If they keep winning, they're clinching soon. 100%.
100%. I mean, they're 4 games up on, I guess, the Broncos at the 7 seed. They're the 1 seed. And they're 6 games up. I think you actually need to be ahead of the 8 seed. I think that's how they clinch, obviously. 6 games up on the Colts as the 8 seed right now. So, I mean, that's a lot of games right there.
It is.
And that could be a clinching scenario pretty soon for the Kansas City Chiefs. I know. Hopefully it won't be. I don't think it can be possible this week, but hopefully the Bills can put a stop to that train a little bit this week. But we will definitely talk about that.
Yeah, speaking about the Chiefs, though, Patrick Mahomes, 28-42, 266, and a touchdown, which is not bad, obviously. Kareem Hunt only had 35 yards rushing, though. This was kind of more in the air kind of game. Like Travis Kelce.
This was a by committee game for the Chiefs. And this is like kind of more of an offensive game that you would see, I hate to say it, but out of the Buffalo Bills. And maybe out of the Green Bay Packers, too, honestly. Kind of a by committee thing. Kareem Hunt, 65 yards receiving.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce, 64 yards receiving.
He had a touchdown as well.
Yep. DeAndre Hopkins, 56 yards receiving. Samaje Perine, 37 yards receiving. I mean, he's had, and then 18 yards from Noah Gray, 11 from Xavier Worthy, who, having Xavier Worthy at 11 yards and still winning this game.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
I feel like as the weeks go on, more and more, they use him less and less.
Yeah, and I've seen that especially because I was looking at him as a potential fantasy target, and I was just like, I don't like his production right now, especially ever since they got DeAndre Hopkins. He's been kind of a non-factor, too.
I think everybody's been kind of a non-factor except for Kelce because now he's getting more room. He's finally getting some separation from these guys because now they have to think about the outside, not just the inside.
Right, and I think the Chiefs know that Xavier really will get his time as wide receiver 1, and the future is his. Him and Patrick Mahomes together, and that's going to be a great combo in the future. But they know right now they got something special with Kelce, Hopkins, and Mahomes.
Yeah.
There's 3 Hall of Famers right there. You don't get 3 Hall of Famers on a team very often, especially on one offense together.
Except for when they had Tyreek.
Especially, except for when they had Tyreek. But it's a rare thing to have.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are rolling. But let's talk about the end of that game real quick. So Harrison Butker, the MVP, basically for the Chiefs this game with 4 field goals of his own. But on the flip side for the Denver Broncos, kind of not how they wanted it to end. Will Lutz, 0 for 2 on the day. 0 for 2 on the day field goals, including the block at the end.
That took away from Bo Nix's 2 touchdown performance as well. Just want to point that out.
Yeah, and
very efficient game from the kid.
Obviously, this is just a tough game in general for me or any top AFC team fan.
Really,
to watch
as a football fan now.
Right? Yeah. Just because it's every week, it feels like the Chiefs are sneaking out these games. And obviously they're 9-0, and they're probably the best team in the league. But you can't help but notice the wins that they're getting and the types of wins that they're getting. But regardless, this was a game that we said would be close, or we thought would be close, because it's a divisional game. But like you said, this low-scoring affair, 30 points combined. I expected the Chiefs to get 30 points. It's kind of embarrassing. Yeah, I mean, tough when the offenses both aren't rolling. I'm
just glad that was not one of my favorite teams because I would not want to be completely locked into that game. That game was on the quad box, but it wasn't the game I was paying the most attention to.
Right. But
so it's tough when you have these games that you're just waiting for all week. All of a sudden they put up 30 combined points. And it's
just disappointing.
And it's not a bad thing because everybody loves defense. I love a good defensive game, but not when it comes to the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think there is good things that you can take out of this game for both teams. Obviously, the Chiefs getting the win, staying 9-0, and going a big momentum when going into next week with the Bills going into Buffalo. But for the Broncos here, I think you take out that you can beat this team. You know that you should have beat this team. This is a game that you gave away, not that they gave away. And you blew it late. Frankly, you blew it late, obviously with the late kick, but letting the Chiefs in the second half, or you yourself in the second half not scoring a point, and letting the Chiefs score in the second half to eventually take the lead and win.
But it's something good to take away
in a divisional game too.
Something good to take away. You're away at Arrowhead. You hold them 16 points.
Right.
That's about as good as you can get.
So defensively, you can really sit back and take a lot from this game, and I think overall you can take a lot from this game, just the grit that the Broncos have, because Bo Nix has been so impressive this year. Sean Payton's been really impressive this year. Just the whole team has been.
I like that too.
They're definitely probably besides the Commanders, most unexpected team to jump this year, in my opinion at least. I don't know about you, but
I feel the same way. 100% the same way.
But I'm excited to watch this Broncos team week in and week out. It's something I haven't said since Peyton Manning was there.
All right.
Very exciting to say.
Like that.
I like a lot of the players that they got. Only thing I wish
too.
is that Jerry Jeudy was still there. I'm a huge Jerry Jeudy fan, but I wish he was still there. But he ship kind of sailed on that. He's doing his thing now in Cleveland, but
He's playing much better in Cleveland.
he is. I mean, especially now getting more touches. Him, Cedric Tillman. Yeah, they're struggling right now in Cleveland. They had a bye last week, but
Much needed by.
much needed bye. But they'll be back this week, unfortunately for them. But moving on now to one of the Browns actually divisional opponents, the only team in the AFC North we haven't talked about yet, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
They won a game.
This was probably one of the most exciting endings I've watched. I'm not trying to rate this as if like someone's hitting like a 67 game-winning yard field goal. But, like, this is just like a weirdly exciting ending to this game because it was really chippy. It was back and forth. Commanders go up. Russ gets a chance with the ball, drives down, scores. They get the ball back. Commanders. You're thinking just a couple weeks ago, they did it with the Bears. Why can't they do it again? And so they're trying. They stop, punt, because there was a lot of time on the clock left. They slept 3 timeouts and everything. And then all of a sudden, Russ kind of gets going a little bit. He had 3 touchdowns in this game.
Doesn't take much for that guy to get going, man.
I mean,
and we love it.
You think about like George Pickens. He's already hot. He had one of the greatest catches in his career. They were hot, all cylinders.
Also,
Warren 66
I
yards.
want to point out something about George Pickens here. I saw a really funny TikTok edit of George Pickens, and it was basically just him. If you don't know his nickname, it's NFL Youngboy. Nickname after NBA Youngboy, who's a rapper who kind of just acts like, I don't even know. If you know NBA Youngboy, you know him. And George Pickens acts kind of like him, so people kind of, made that nickname for him. And he was just a video of him, just his highlights from last game, and he just like jumps around on the field. After he catches balls, he just does. Yeah. People are saying he's like a dog that just doesn't. He's like just too excited. He doesn't know what to do when he gets the ball. He kind of just like jumps around and just kind of tries.
I saw him fall over one of his teammates.
Yeah, yeah. He just does random stuff. I think he's just a really funny player.
Yeah.
In general,
and so
great player.
Oh, amazing. Going back to what I was saying though, you have all these perfect little things sprinkled in for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now you're starting to wonder, even before everything went down, you're starting to wonder if this team's legit. Because we all think the Commanders are legit. So I think we put the Steelers in the conversation now. They're going to be a playoff threat come January.
I think so too. And anytime that you have a defense as good as the Steelers,
they are
Steelers
amazing defense.
You got a shot. And the way that Russell Wilson is playing right now, he's playing
pretty
unlimited. I don't want to say like prime Russ, but he's playing like,
definitely last year Seahawks Russ right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe year before.
Oh, year before, I mean, he was MVP candidate halfway through the year.
He was.
Yeah,
he kind of was.
But regardless, I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the Mr. Unlimited kind of, revenge tour.
Yeah.
I guess in a way, but let's talk about the flip side here for Washington at the end of this game. Jer'Zhan Newton, the rookie out of Illinois, he jumped over the line, and this is a rookie move, obviously, pun intended. And he feels terrible about it. I feel terrible for the guy. But, I mean, you cannot do that in that situation.
Hey, I mean, once that happened, you saw an all-time fist bump. Like a Tiger Woods drilled a putt.
All-time just reaction. And if you watch that play when he jumps off, I recommend literally you watch it 22 times. Watch every single player on the field and see how they react.
Especially Russ.
Each one individually reacts in their own unique way. Bobby Wagner, for example, just stood there with his hands on his hips.
Yep.
Russell Wilson,
fist bumping,
big fist bump,
and then he's
there.
dancing.
Number 66, I don't know, on the offensive line for Pittsburgh, was doing all sorts of dances. Just go back and watch that video and literally watch it 22 times. It's worth it to watch it. But for Jer'Zhan Newton here,
poor kid was crying on the sideline after.
Yeah, and good thing he's got good teammates like Jonathan Allen. And Daron Payne that can really help him through. Good guys on the defensive line, like we were talking about last week. Good veteran guys that can really help him just progress in his career. And that's a play right there where obviously we can look as fans and be like, yeah, obviously they weren't running a play, But obviously, he's got to be ready to run a play there. So I think in his head, he was just like,
Yeah.
but yeah, you got to know the situation.
Gotta know. Gotta read
know
the situation.
I mean,
Because if he didn't jump off sides, Commanders get the ball back. We'll see what happens.
and Mike Tomlin, after the game, a reporter asked him, they said, were you really running a play on that? He goes, I guess we'll never know. Guess we'll never know.
That's a great
And
answer.
that's a Mike Tomlin answer right there.
There's a
That's
great answer.
That's why we love Mike Tomlin on the Out of Bounds podcast.
He's a tier 1 guy.
He is a tier 1 guy.
Definitely, especially with respect. Tier
Yeah.
1 guy. But let's go on to another coach that Charlie really respects. You want to say his name?
MCDC, Mr. Dan Campbell.
Yeah, that's
And D'Amico Ryans. I respect him too.
Yeah.
I respect him a lot too.
this was a interesting Sunday night game, and I was really happy in the first half. Let's just say that. Not so much in the second.
I was pretty happy in the second half.
You
I was.
were happy.
A lot of America was as well.
I don't necessarily agree. I don't know.
The Lions are America's team.
You think so?
I if it's not the Bills, it's the Lions.
The Bill.
If
Wow,
it's
I
not the
can't
Bills,
throw
it's
the
the
Bills
Lions.
in
It's
there.
Josh Allen. Josh Allen is America's quarterback, and that's a fact.
I think I could throw. I could.
That's a fact.
I'll agree with that one.
That's a fact. But the Lions are America's team.
Okay.
I think we can agree on that.
All right. Yeah, I mean there has been a lot of camaraderie around the Detroit Lions.
Yeah,
I guess just the North was kind of pissed off about this game because
I guess so.
let's just talk about it. Houston Texans had them by their throats. By the throats.
23-7
23-7 at half.
Yeah.
By the throats. The Houston Texans did not put up another point. And they picked off Jared Goff 5 times. He went 15 for 30. Five interceptions. He's not playing outdoors. He's playing inside. He's playing in a dome. NRG Stadium in Houston. 5 picks. Most of them were his fault.
Yeah, I mean, not the game you want to see from Jared Goff here, but they got the win regardless. So, I mean, what can you really say about this guy? I mean, 15 for 30 this game, not a normal Jared Goff game at all. Usually in a normal
That's
game.
like Rams Jared Goff.
Yeah, usually
But not 5
not
picks,
5
man.
picks. Not 5 picks.
I don't know.
Which, by the way, like 5 picks is really bad, right?
Dude, he played like garbage.
No, I know. It's really bad, but like he didn't really put them in a spot to like lose.
He did.
I don't know.
After that first half, dude, they were like, they had
I
no
know,
business being in the game.
But it wasn't like, I don't know.
That defense really stepped up. That's the only reason why they were in this game.
Laporta did step up this game, I'll say that.
He
3
did.
receptions, 66 yards, and a touchdown. A well-needed touchdown for him. He definitely need to get back in the end zone there. And I just want to point out on the flip side for the Texans here, John Mechie.
Welcome back. Or not, well, I mean, he's been back, but
But welcome back, yeah.
yeah, he had leukemia
Mm-hmm.
just 2 years ago.
Battle back.
Battle back. He was a star at Alabama, one of the greatest Crimson Tide, and he battles back and 74 yards and a great touchdown, head top touchdown. So
In a
Good to
team
see.
where he doesn't get as much playing time
and it's
as
too bad because he's a really good player.
I think you will now that Diggs is out. Obviously, Nico Collins out for this game as well. He'll be back next week, which is going to be a big boost for Houston as well. But,
and for Mr. Unlimited's team.
And for Mr. Unlimited's team, which I'm very I'm very excited for. We're making some moves. We have lost 8 in a row, but we will be back.
Is it 8 now?
It's been 2 months since I've won a game.
Wow.
It's been 2 months.
That's
And what
tough,
I mean,
man.
Chris Godwin going out didn't help. Nico going out. Well, the timing of everything just was bad. I had Nico go out in week 5 or 4, one of those two. I had Chris Godwin go out right when Nico was about to get back, but I actually didn't get back yet.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb got back a little bit too late. Rashid Shaheed tore his ACL somewhere in there. And my team just played like garbage, the rest of them, besides Josh Allen. So
Yeah. Well,
that's
and
kind of
Baker.
what. And Baker's been on my bench. So
Yeah, but give
yeah.
him his roses.
And Calvin Ridley, I won't lie to him, former Mr. Unlimited player. Thank you for your services. He was pretty decent for us as well. But
Former Mr. Unlimited player.
regardless, this was just a great win for the Lions. Now moving to 8-1,
Yeah, man, they're the top of the NFL.
top of the NFC, top of the NFL, top 2.
A lot of people I've talked to put them miles ahead of the Chiefs because of their strength of schedule.
Yeah, and that's a question I was actually going to ask you right now: is which team do you think is the better team right now? I know that the Lions are sitting at 8-1; they have a loss. Chiefs are at 9-0, obviously no losses, but who do you think's the better team?
I'm putting the Detroit Lions up there, man. I think that team is special. Down 3 scores, coming back, not allowing another score, even after someone throws 5 picks, and you can still win a game against a top team in the AFC. I think it's kind of obvious where I'm going with this pick. It's got to be Detroit. You don't see a lot of people rally around a coach like this, and they rally around MCDC, like, it's their mothers. Like, they're all their father, mother. Like, everybody just clings together. They're more of a team than the Chiefs, even close to being.
Right, 100%.
Everybody seeing the love for these guys have, the love that these guys have for each other, and the way they share the ball with each other. Like Monty and Gibbs, you got Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams, you got Raymond, Sam Laporta, Jared Goff being very efficient.
And mind you, Laporta's having a down year.
Yeah.
Jameson Williams has been in and out all year with injury, suspensions, whatever he's got going on.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra, I mean, he's had a great year, but he's had some really down games. The only guys that have been really consistently good the whole season have been Jahmyr Gibbs and Jared Goff up until yesterday, I would say. But
yeah, completely.
But guys in the defense have stepped up this year. Alex Anzalone, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph.
Especially with the
Jack Campbell.
Unfortunate injury with
Aiden Hutchinson.
Right,
yeah.
But they're bringing in Z. Z was on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
He had the cap on, the tablet. He was a little coach.
And if you
Z
didn't
this
see,
weekend.
another reason why Dan Campbell's one of the most respected coaches inside his
Doesn't
team
matter.
and outside in the NFL is because of the situation with Zadarius Smith. You want to talk about that? Do you see that whole thing?
Oh, you got it.
Basically, Zadarius Smith was on the Browns, right? Got traded to the Lions at the trade deadline. But the Browns had their bye last week. So Dan Campbell, being the coach he is, and the Lions already having their bye earlier in the season, honored Zadarius Smith's bye week. Obviously, because mostly he didn't want his, one of his star defensive players that they traded for to get hurt. But also just to respect the guy and give him some time with his family.
That's what actually didn't happen with Preston Smith. Got traded to the
right,
Steelers,
yeah,
had to play in that game.
I was
going
going
to
say, yeah.
So he was kind of mad that he missed his bye week too. But I like that he gave him the bye week because I'm a big fan of Z. I'm a big fan of MCDC. So it's great.
And
to
who
see.
knows if Preston Smith just denied the bye week? Who knows?
Yeah, we'll never know.
But regardless, good move by the Lions there. Good move for Zadarius Smith, and I think that's going to help him immerse more into the team. I feel like that's going to actually bring him closer to the team because even being away and then coming back, you have the respect for the coach coming back right away. And like we said, if all those players have the respect already, it's going to be easy for him to just jump in and continue that respect, I guess.
Absolutely, completely agree there. But yeah, the Lions got a huge win. C.J. Stroud, we're also going to mention, only had 2 picks. Joe Mixon only had
for him, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
And then you got like Joe Mixon, only 46 yards. This team declined so bad in the second half, and you gotta wonder what D'Amico Ryan said to that team at not halftime, but after the game.
What can you say? I mean, they really just
they blew it.
They stopped playing. Really, I mean, it was just they were ugly in the second half. It didn't look good. And also, one thing I want to point about Lions and Chiefs is, I think the reason why they're separating themselves so much from other teams is their creativeness. If you look on offense, like they're the only 2 teams that have like running backs throwing passes or all these reverses and like just routes that aren't normal. Like everybody's running normal routes, I guess, and these 2 teams are just making their own.
Jared Goff,
they're going outside they're not cookie cutter teams. They're going outside of the box, and that's kind of where I think the NFL needs to go because with all this film that everybody's got from the last few years of the same routes over and over, you can find defenses that stop them. I mean, if you have a running back throwing a pass, nobody's really expecting the running back throw a wheel route to the slow quarterback,
Yeah, I mean, that's the craziest thing because I feel like most of the starting receivers in the NFL are very capable of catching a pass. So
throwing a pass?
Catching a pass.
The receivers?
No, I meant throwing a pass, yeah. No, I meant starting quarterbacks.
Say that again.
I feel like most of the starting quarterbacks in the league have the ability to receive the pass.
I agree. Okay.
To catch a ball.
Okay. I was going to say, I hope the receivers have the ability.
That's on me. But you look at guys like Jalen Hurts. And you know what? This is I hate to bring this really weird point up in this conversation, but my high school coach used to tell me that quarterbacks have the best hands on the field. I mean, it's kind of true. I mean, all you're doing all day is you're playing catch, you're doing this, you're doing that. And he would get absolutely pissed when the quarterback would drop a ball because you have to act like that's a snap or something like that. So,
yeah, that's fair.
Quarterbacks just, if Jared Goff can do it, I think Jordan Love can catch a pass. I think Josh Allen could definitely catch a pass. There's a lot.
He has caught a few passes before.
That's the thing is there's just
including
a
playoff game.
Lot of quarterbacks in the league that can catch a pass, and it's got to be done more.
Especially because if you really think, maybe not in the NFL. But, high school, you're having the QB throw to the QB. So it's strong arm to strong arm, usually if you have a strong arm. And usually the the running back or wide receiver is throwing the pass, usually it's a weaker arm. So you're right. So and they're usually throwing it with some art because they're usually scared to rifle it in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just the creativity overall, like you were.
That's why I love Taysom Hill.
Right, because the Saints, they really ran the Taysom Hill experiment a few years too long. Another team really could have used his services, but good for him for noticing he could have got a paycheck there. So, I would live in New Orleans too if I was getting paid that much. But I also, something I wanted to point out about this game right before we move on to our playoff outlooks, I guess, is there was more picks in the Lions-Texans game, 7, than the Jets scored points this week. And that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Wow.
Go Bills.
But with that, we do have my famous FMVP and my MVP.
It's famous now, huh?
I know. Yeah,
all right.
It's famous. So we're going to start off with someone who jaw-dropping performance. We mentioned his name earlier, and we're going to mention his name again. We got Ja'Marr Chase. 11 catches, 264 yards, and 3 touchdowns. You know how much that equals?
How many? Well, I know, but like how many?
55.4.
8th best fantasy performance of all time. Unreal.
Dating before when fantasy football was even a thing.
Unreal.
Because people went back to check like Jared Rice's stats and Terrell Owen, or not Terrell.
And fun fact about that, I think the 3 guys above him were all running backs from 2002.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think it was Priest, Holmes, Ladinian, Tomlinson, and Sean Alexander.
I would not be surprised.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Those 3 names
those
sound
3,
right.
I mean, they're like those 3 of the most underrated running backs as well of all time.
I think LT definitely is up there.
Yeah, but regardless.
Yeah. I mean, now
perfect pick for fantasy MVP.
If
you picked anybody else, I would have been pretty mad.
Now, for the first time in MVP for the Out of Bounds podcast, we have a back-to-back kicker. Not the same kicker, but it is a back-to-back kicker. This guy's name is Jake Bates. You want to know why I'm going to pick him?
Why?
Because it takes a set of onions.
It does.
Onions.
It does.
To barely make 2 field goals in a row. And I'm sitting there the entire way, and I'm like, nope. Not even 3 inches of clearance between the ball and the field goal pipe, the crossbar, goalpost, whatever. Take some onions. And as a man once said, it's got me feeling really nicey.
Shout out John Gruden.
So I'm gonna go Jake Bates for the MVP for hitting. How long was that game-winning field goal again? I'm gonna do some research.
I don't know off the top of my head,
but I'll do some research while we're going through the AFC. But Jake Bates, congratulations, you're upon the MVPs.
Very interesting MVP for this week. Which, by the way, we probably at the end of the season, we haven't really discussed this yet because 8 weeks out, like we said. But last year, if you guys remember, we did our Out of Bounds MVP, Offensive Player of the Year. I think that will be back this year.
Oh, it will definitely be
and back. The MVP might be a back-to-back MVP if you know who it was last year. If not, go check it out. It's still on our Instagram.
It's at Out of Bounds Podcast with a dot between every single word.
Yes, it is, Gavin.
And it was a 52-yard field goal.
Oh, 52-yard field goal. It
curious.
does take some onions.
But that was some serious onions.
Just snuck in there. Yeah,
snuck in there.
Let's talk about the AFC playoff picture right now because it's getting tight and it's getting down to the wire here. Like we've been saying, 8 weeks left. Pretty important games coming up. And, obviously right at the top, we got the Chiefs at 1, Bills at 2 at 8-2, Steelers at 7-2 and 3 seed, and the AFC South leader right now 6-4, the Houston Texans.
I did not know the Steelers were in there.
Yeah, Steelers at 7-2.
Wow.
It's because Baltimore 7-3 right now. So
makes sense.
Wait until the Steelers, Baltimore has their bye week, and then we'll be all evened up there.
Yep.
Baltimore at the 5 seed at 7-3, Chargers at 6-3 at the 6 seed, and this is where it really gets get dicey a little bit here, at the bottom of the AFC, because Denver's at 5-5 at the 7 seed. If they won last week, we would be sitting at a 2-game separation between the 7 seed and the 8 seed, which is really interesting because I don't think we've seen a divide like that, right at the, playoff, what's it called? Playoff surface line, whatever you want to call it, above the hunt line, which in the hunt, the teams below the 5-5 Denver Broncos are the 4 and 6 Indianapolis Colts and Cincinnati Bengals, the 8 and 9 seed respectively. And these two teams, these are the two teams that we look at, me and you, and we say these are the two teams that are probably going to get in if the Broncos don't get in.
Yeah, no, completely agree.
And obviously, big news today with the Colts coming out. Anthony Richardson will be their starting QB this week, and hopefully for the rest of the season.
I think that they read Ian Kennedy's sign when he was at Lucas Oil Stadium this over.
I think they did. Our Colts
this last
correspondent,
weekend.
shout out to Ian Kennedy, and our semi-Bills correspondent, Mike Clowen, went to the Bills Colts game in Indianapolis, and Ian Kennedy made a free AR sign, free Anthony Richardson sign.
It was great.
It was great, and they did.
They saw it. I think they
did.
saw it.
And
I
they
mean,
did.
If that's not, I mean, I gotta go tell them after this. I mean, if that's not a sign that they saw your sign,
Yeah, because I didn't really think about that until you just said it. But, I mean, which, by the way, I do want to say I did give him the Sharpie to make that sign. So I think I do get a little bit of credit, some residual credit here, if you want to call it that. But anyway, Bengals sitting there at the 9 seed as well. Just like we talked about, they could definitely get in.
I saw this thing. It was like Cincinnati Bengals are the best bad team in NFL history. And
yeah, and I'm trying to think of a team because I feel like there's been some teams that have
there
missed the
definitely
playoffs
has.
that haven't.
Yeah.
But they're definitely a team where I look at them, I say, on paper,
They
you know,
should
and
be-
it, like obviously, like you know, this is all my opinion, and obviously the records are the records. You can't
Yeah.
really change. As my favorite saying, one of my favorite sayings is, you can only play your schedule.
you can.
So
You can.
I'm
You
not
love that
knocking the
saying?
Broncos and Chargers here, but I do think the Bengals are better than the
Oh.
Colts, Broncos, Chargers.
I
think
agree.
a lot of people agree.
Yeah.
And if the Bengals don't get in the playoffs,
It'll be unfortunate.
it will be unfortunate, but it's their own fault. I mean,
It
they
is.
started really slow. Joe Burrow had a
They do
terrible
it every
start.
year to
Yeah.
themselves. They shoot themselves in the foot, and it's really, really frustrating to watch.
Yeah, at least the last two years at least. It's been like that. And I know they've been injury ridden the last 2 years, but this year not as much. I mean,
They
really
have a
no
healthy
excuses.
team.
I mean, it's just their defense is not.
Except for Zach Moss.
They lost a lot of guys.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but and then right below the Bengals there, Dolphins, Jets sitting down there as well, and Dolphins sitting at 3 and 6, Jets sitting at 3 and 7, Patriots also sitting at 3 and 7. So the AFC East, well, last week was looking pretty bleak. I think every team won besides the Jets, obviously, but the Dolphins, Patriots, and Bills all won last week. So pretty interesting there for the AFC East because it was looking like the Bills might clinch pretty soon.
It was.
But not as much anymore. Might have to wait a few more weeks. But those three teams sitting there, and then, you know, Browns, Titans, Raiders, Jags sitting at the bottom there. And, you know, after we talk about the NFC here, we got to start talking about the Tankathon that's going on at the bottom because that's a really important race that we got going on too.
It is. It is an important race. But before we get to that, we will talk about the NFC really quick. In the 1 seed, everybody knows the Detroit Lions, 8 and 1. They're controlling it. The number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles jumped the Commanders with that loss because the Commanders are 7 and 3. Philly is only 7 and 2. So because of that, they get jumped. Eagles get the 2 seed. Commanders get
And
the
folks, look where we're
the
at.
6 seed.
Look where we're at. I mean,
It's painting the picture.
I
for
hate
what
to
you
be
said.
that guy, but this is one of the predictions that I was pretty right on. As of right now, as we said, 8 weeks left, a lot of time left, 2 months left.
Big game this week.
Big game this
They're playing
week.
each other this weekend.
Yeah, so
that's a
I
big
mean,
game.
And Thursday night as well.
That is a Thursday night game?
That is the Thursday night
Wow.
game. So back to back.
Electric.
I'm pretty sure that is the Thursday night game.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it is.
Okay.
It is.
All right.
But anyway, I don't know if the Eagles will be hosting that game, like I said they would. But I think they'll be in the game.
Unless Detroit loses.
Right. Which, but it doesn't look like Detroit's going to slow down anytime soon. But they do still play the Buffalo Bills. I will say that, and the Philadelphia Eagles don't. So
All
there's
right.
always a chance there for the door to be open.
All right. And they also play the Green Bay Packers, too. Anyways,
That is true. That is true.
number 3 seed, the Atlanta Falcons sitting at 6 and 4, which they get the tiebreaker over the 4 seed, the Arizona Cardinals, which are also 6 and 4, because they're tiebreaker. So it wins the tiebreaker over Arizona based on the best win percentage in conference games. So they've just won more NFC games than the Cardinals have. Sitting at the 5 seed is the Minnesota Vikings sitting at 7-2, and they're above the Washington Commanders, which are 7-3 because they have one less game played. and therefore percentage is better. Washington at 6, like I've been saying, and at the 7 seed, the Green Bay Packers sitting at 6-3, just coming off a bye. They got the Bears this upcoming weekend. If you guys were curious, I know there's a lot of Packers fans listening to this show, so shout out to all you Go Pack Go fans. The 8 seed, the first team out looking in. The San Francisco 49ers, 5-4. So Arizona still needs a bye, and they got to play each other. This is going to get really, really, really interesting because
I was going to say
Arizona beat them the first time around.
And there's a lot of divisional races. The AFC North specifically, the NFC East, and the NFC West. Those are the 3 biggest divisional races to look at for the end of this year.
Especially because I'm going to get down the list, and after I say 9, 10, and 11 are both a part of the NFC West. So number 9 is the Chicago Bears, and this is a long explanation why they're number 9, sitting at 4-5 over the Rams, Seahawks, and Bucks, which are all 4-5 except the Bucks are 4-6. So wins tiebreaker over the LA Rams based on head-to-head win percentage. Division tiebreak was initially used to eliminate Seattle. LA Rams wins tiebreak over Seattle based on their head-to-head win percentage. So that just gives you the explanation for why it goes 9, 10, 11. Bears sitting at 4-5. Rams sitting at 4-5. Seattle sitting at 4-5. That was a lot to say. I hope you guys understood it.
And for the Bears here, I mean, I have never seen a team look this bad after looking so good earlier in the year. They won 3 games earlier in the season, to start this month actually, and then 4 weeks. And then they lost the last 3 games in a row, starting with that Hail Mary. I think the Hail Mary, I've never seen a team unravel so much after one play.
I am loving it.
But yeah, it's
I hope it continues. There's
I
a
know
big
you
week
do.
this year.
And honestly, this is a team where I don't think the effort that they show, like DJ Moore not walking off the sideline.
That was crazy.
Obviously crazy. Caleb Williams does not look like a number 1 pick right now, at least the last few games. But there's a lot of question marks on this Bears team, including Matt Eberflus, their coach, who's been a question mark for the last four however long he's been there, basically. It's just a lot of questions around the Bears here, and if they're going to make a push for the playoffs, it's got to be this week. It's got to start this week.
And then we got, like we said, 10 Rams, 11 Seahawks, and 12 Bucks because they dropped to 4-6. And then rolling in the rear, we have the 13 seed Cowboys, 14 Saints, 15 Panthers, and 16 Giants, which we will talk about the Giants in just a few seconds because they are in the Tankathon.
Yeah, and I'm on tankathon.com right now.
Wow. Tankathon.com.
Tankathon.com.
Love that.
And if you don't know about this, I am very familiar with this website, being a Buffalo Sabres fan. Shout out to the Sabres. Because you can run your own draft lottery. For the NBA and for NHL, you can run your own draft lottery.
Is that what you were doing last year?
I was doing that a lot last year. And now you can do it for the MLB because the MLB is a lottery now. So
I forgot about
you can do it for all the leagues, all the major leagues, and it's pretty cool. And they give you week by week, they update it, and you can see what team is leading the league for the number 1 pick. So right now, if the season ended right now, and obviously these 2 teams have not had their bye yet, but they will shortly. Jacksonville, sitting at 2-8, will get the number 1 pick if the season ended today. And the Giants would have the number 2 pick, both at 2-8 right now.
You know what I love about this website? So it says their streak, right? So it says the Jacksonville Jaguars are on a 3-game losing streak, but because they're in the bottom of,
it's because it's green.
It's green.
Yeah,
it's green because they're tanking.
And if you scroll down, you got
red.
You got the Kansas City with obviously their 9-game win streak, but it's red. It's red.
It's a dark red.
Right. The website's the best.
Yeah, this website's great. Check
Cat's
it out,
out of the bag now, guys.
Tankathon.com/NFL. Check it out.
And if you scroll down a little bit further, Gab, actually.
Yeah.
You can see the scoreboard. Keep going.
All the way? Oh.
Look at that. They got a mock draft down there as well.
Hunter and Shador back-to-back
yeah, they got
first-round picks.
The mock draft right now says that Travis Hunter would go first to the Jags. Shador Sanders would go second to the Giants. Cam Ward would go to the Titans. McMillan from Arizona, he would go to the Browns at 4. And Will Johnson from Michigan, the corner, would go to the Raiders at 5.
Of course you went right there.
What?
You would do that.
What?
No, I'm just being funny.
Oh, I didn't see Mason Graham down there at 7.
Can't leave out Mason Graham.
Regardless, I mean, it's a pretty cool website, but those are the bottom 5 teams
That's
right now.
Crazy, dude.
If the season ended today, And no surprise here, but the Chiefs will get the 32nd pick, if the season ended right now. So pretty interesting stuff. And we will get into our picks now for next week.
We sure will.
Wrap up this episode here. And these are Week 11 picks, starting with the Thursday night game, Commanders at Eagles in Philadelphia. Should be an electric atmosphere. Not sure if Philly's wearing their all blacks. If they are, it's got to be electric.
That would be electric, but I'm going to take the Eagles regardless if they're wearing their uniforms or not. I'm not saying I'm done with the Commanders because I'm not. It's just they played a really good team last week, and they're playing a really good team this week, and this is not the week where they bounce back. So
Yeah.
I got the Eagles, especially Saquon Barkley. He was very quiet last week. He's not going to be quiet this week. I got a bounce back game for Saquon, and the Eagles continue their tear. Like you mentioned, they were going to go on.
Yeah, I got the Eagles too. I want to pick the Commanders in this game, but I don't think it'd be right of me to pick them just with all the Eagles hype I've been talking about. But like you said, Saquon Barkley, especially even when he was on the Giants, he destroys NFC East teams.
Yeah.
So this is going to be another one of those situations, I feel like. And especially in a primetime game, and a game where he's coming off where he struggled a little bit. I mean, this is all a recipe for Saquon Barkley
really
to go
is.
off on Thursday night. And I'm excited just to watch this game because hopefully it'll be a close game. Hopefully it'll come down to the wire. And hopefully this will be a rivalry that we can see coming in the future between Hurts and Jaden Daniels.
Love that. I would love that. That'd be great.
Yeah. Especially because Washington and Philly, they're close. So, like, those
They
are.
are.
I mean, think about Capitals, Flyers. I mean, that's a good rivalry right there.
I mean, those were the two capitals of
Nationals,
America
Phillies.
right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
because Philadelphia was the old capital before Washington.
That is
DC,
true.
So
That is good. Some U.S. history right there.
there you go. Scotty would be proud.
Next game coming up right here, Raiders at Dolphins. Wow, what a game we got right here. Wow,
I
Jesus.
got the Dolphins. I think I like how they look over the Rams, and I think the Raiders suck, so I'm going to go to the Dolphins.
Antonio Pierce did announce today that Gardner Minshew will be starting. I'm sure Raiders fans hate that.
Wow.
And I have the Dolphins in this game. I think Tua actually looked good last week.
He did look
against the
decent last
Rams.
week.
And I think Tyreek actually showed a little bit of promise as well.
There was a little heart
in that
there.
game. Which even though also a former Mr. Unlimited player traded him away this week as well. For Kenneth Walker, though. Kenneth Walker's a pretty good player.
We'll get into the Seahawks in a little
We will.
bit.
Browns at Saints is the next game.
I don't want to pick the Browns. I don't want to pick either of these teams. If I could pick a tie, I would. But I'm not going to pick a tie. Because that would be really, really oniony of me. Which I'm not going to do. So I'm going to go the Saints here because the Browns have not looked the same ever since they beat the Ravens.
Nah, and I really want to go with the Browns here, coming off a bye. But if the Saints were coming off a loss this week, I'd probably go with the Browns.
Always saying.
Since they're coming off a win,
A big win.
I don't think
against
I can.
a great team.
I don't think I can go off against Darian Rizzi. Darian Rizzi or Darren Rizzi? I don't know.
I know it's Rizzi.
Rizzi's the last name, but that new head coach for the Saints, he got the boys energized the other day, last week. So I got the Saints as well in this game.
Yeah, now we're going on to a game that was supposed to be the Sunday night game that got flexed to a 1 o'clock game.
Yeah, game between two of our correspondents right here.
Yeah.
Ian Kennedy for the Colts and Christopher Hurley for the New York Jets.
Yeah, so we got Colts at Jets. And in this game, with AR coming back, there's a lot of jazz. I think Shane's going to get the boys together this week. I got the Colts in this game. We have a JT Masterclass game in this one.
I actually have the Jets in this game. And I know I was just ripping on them for scoring 6 points, but at some point, Devontae and A-Rod got to have a game together. And I know A-Rod is not looking like A-Rod right now.
It's sad.
But once again, he's got to have one game, right? Right?
I hope so.
At home. I don't know. I just feel like there's too much around the Colts right now where I can't justify picking them. Keep flipping back and forth, messing with
You
Richard.
can't even justify picking between either team.
I
right
can't, and it's kind of like the Browns and Saints. I
Yeah.
mean, it just at this point of the year, there's
You can
some
only
tough.
get the cards you're dealt.
That's right, and the Cards are on a bye this week, by the way. Cards,
Hey,
Cards,
that's kinda
Panthers,
tough.
Cards, Panthers, Giants, and Bucks are on a bye this week. Thanks for that, Gavin. I forgot about that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, but I got the Jets. I don't know. I just had to pick between one of these teams, and it happened to be a different team than Gavin. So we got a swing game this week.
All right, here we go. Next game, we have the Vikings at the Titans. The Titans are just an embarrassing team. I'm going to go with the Vikings here.
I have the Vikings as well. There's no way that Will Levis can beat the Vikings this week. There's no way, right?
I mean, the Vikings almost just lost to the Jags.
I know, but in back to back,
No.
back to back,
They're going to be
I
back.
don't
They're
think
going to be looking really good this week.
I think so too. And your game right here, Packers at Bears, huge game. I was hoping that the Bears would be good so I can go, with the Bears in this game, but I don't think I can. I have to go Packers in this game, and I want to hear your thoughts about this game because it's a huge game for the Packers. Huge.
This is as of right now, I know every game, the more you play, the more you got to say it. But it's the biggest game of the year. As of right now. Just
Especially because if you lose.
If we lose, we're FUCKED. So we got to win this game. Win the in-division games. Yeah, you have to beat the Bears twice, right? And it all starts on the road this week in Soldier Field. Well, it's going to be rowdy. And you know what? I saw this video of Caleb Williams leading the F the Packers chant. Let's just say Caleb Williams used to be a Packer fan. He did. He actually did. And
is that true?
There's the Twitter receipts. I have them on my phone.
Okay.
If we need them. This is a true statement.
We might need to pull these up.
And the Packers are going to come in after the bye week, a much-needed bye week. Jordan Love needed to get healthy. Everybody needed to get healthy. Everybody in the goddamn team needed to get healthy. I'm going to rip on them right now because they need a win. If they don't get it, I will be miserable next Wednesday.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a huge...
So go Pack, go. I got the Packers.
It's a huge game, too, because if the Packers lose this game, the Bears are back in the playoff race.
Exactly.
And I know there's you got to jump the Niners, you got to jump the Cardinals if you're them as well, and you got to jump the Packers too. But this is a huge step forward for the Bears and another opportunity for them to get back into the playoffs. Like I was saying, and if you just think if they won one of the last 3 games, one of them knocked down that Hail Mary, scored more than 6 points against the Cardinals, just did really anything to be productive in the last few weeks, they would have had a shot at the playoffs, and I just don't think anymore they really can do it.
No, yeah, completely agree.
Moving on now to Jaguars at Lions in Detroit, and this is an interesting game. I feel like the Jags don't go to Detroit too often. I'm assuming the last time they went there, Blake Bortles was the quarterback, which is pretty interesting there. I get the Lions in this one. I don't think you can really pick against the worst team, quote, in the league and the second best team in the league. So it's kind of a weird matchup here, but the Lions should win pretty handily here.
No, yeah, I got the Lions. I think the Jags are garbage. Give me the Lions.
Rams at Patriots is the next game.
It's tough to pick, and I know my cousin's listening right now. Sean Collins, shout out to you. I'm sorry, I can't go to the Pats this week. He just commented on their post that we were sleeping on. He did say we were
sleeping on the Pats, yeah.
And unfortunately,
and Wake Up Hove too.
Unfortunately, I'm still under my covers because I'm still asleep right now. So I got the Rams this game. For this week. I got the Rams.
And every week. For me.
I got the Rams in this one. That team is loaded. I don't think there's going to be enough. Even in New England, man, I don't see the Patriots winning this game.
This will be an interesting game. I feel like this will actually be a close game for whatever reason. I also have the Rams in this game. Especially with Puka coming back, fully healthy now. Him, Kupp, Kyren. They're going to make a push for the playoffs as well. Look for them to be kind of a sneaky team to jump the Bears after the Bears potentially lose this week. And potentially to jump the Cardinals because they probably play in there somewhere as well.
I got something about the Bears. I found the tweets. I have the receipts.
Oh, you did?
On March 8th, 2022.
This is kind of I thought this was going to be like a Josh Allen Patriots jersey situation.
Okay, I guess I'm still a Packers fan.
Yep. Wasn't he at USC at the time?
I think he was.
Oh my goodness, Caleb. You had to know you're going top pick.
Yeah.
And it's probably not going to be the Packers.
And I still have these other two. These ones are from 2017, but still. I'm believing in my Packers. #GoPackGo. Let's go. Yellow heart, green heart, Green Bay, at Packers, at Aaron Rodgers, at Crosby kicks 2. Great game, Aaron, Mason, and the rest of the team.
That sounds like a Caleb Williams.
Yes, for the receipts.
Tweet.
I gave you the receipts. So.
He's from Washington D.C. He's born in Washington D.C.
I think it's because he was a Rodgers fan.
I don't know where he grew up, or I don't know if he grew up in Washington D.C.
I know, but I think the reason why he was a Packers fan is because of Rodgers. I think that's why he was a Packers fan.
That's just hilarious in general. That's hilarious. I didn't know that.
But now we have
the green heart, yellow heart, green heart, yellow. Wow.
So now we have a big game
Bear
in
down.
this next one. Chill with that. We got a next game. It's huge for the AFC North. We have the Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers in Acrisure Stadium.
Yeah. And I really want to go the Steelers in this game.
I do too.
Really do.
I like their momentum, but not enough. I think this Ravens team is way too good. They were down 21-7 to the Bengals. Didn't matter. It was in their division. Give me the Ravens because of that strong comeback and this momentum that they got for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
I'll probably be picking them for a lot of the games the rest of the year. So give me the Ravens.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the Steelers, at some point, Mr. Unlimited, unfortunately, is probably gonna have
He'll be limited.
a bad game, and unfortunately, also this game's at 1 o'clock on a Sunday.
Which is BS.
Yeah.
They should have gotten flexed.
And
to
I'm
the
glad
Sunday
it is
night game.
personally because the Bills play at 4:25, but this should
Yeah.
be a 4:25 game.
Honestly,
should
it's a
be.
Sunday night game.
Or it should be.
yeah.
It should be the Sunday night game, but they're not going to take the Cowboys out of Sunday night, or sorry, the Chargers out of Sunday night. L.A. They're not going to.
No,
L.A.
I know, but that was just really funny.
I know, go from the
just because
Cowboys
it's the Chargers.
I know, but they're not going to.
I know. That sucks. But
And they also flexed that game in. So
They did,
Yeah,
so-
they're
yeah.
definitely not moving it.
so yeah, I think I have the Ravens.
I also have the Ravens.
You got the Ravens.
Unfortunately, I really want to pick. I'm really thinking about changing my pick right now, but I don't think I can.
I'm gonna
I
put a
don't think I
5-second
can.
time round.
No, I'm
never
sticking
mind.
with it. No,
Next game we have
didn't even get to 4.
we have another interdivision game. The Seahawks at the 49ers, and like I was saying, the 8 seed outside looking in. No time to get a better win than right now. Give me the 49ers.
I have the 49ers as well in this game. I just
That's it. Okay.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, I
There's
don't
not enough that need. Yeah.
I mean, the Seahawks had a bye last week. They didn't look great before the bye playing the Bills.
they haven't looked good this season.
Yeah, and I hope Kenneth Walker plays well. But DK coming off an injury right now. Geno Smith writing back a little bit. Tyler Lockett's just falling off. He's been old now,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Jackson Smith and Jigba has been
Amazing.
great for them.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to be him and DK are going to be a force to reckon with in the future. Great duo there.
He's
But
got a new quarterback.
outside of that, AJ Barner, former Michigan Wolverine, great tight end, but not good enough to get you over the hump. And that defense, it was swarming at the beginning of the year. It was great. It was a great defense, but it's kind of fallen off a little bit for all those reasons. Niners also getting more healthy week by week. Going the Niners in this one. Eventually, I think they'll win the division. Eventually.
All right, I think so too as well. Next game we have a wow. Sorry, I'm getting live breaking news here from Adam Schefter that Charlie just switched his pick on this
I did
upcoming
just switch
game.
my pick right here.
So we have the Falcons at the Broncos. I'm gonna let you go first.
Yeah, I'm picking the Broncos in this game, and I had the Falcons slotted in there, but honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought when you first typed this in the graphic, I thought you said Broncos at Falcons. And now that I see it's in Mile High, the week after a game where they should have won against the best team in the league, former 2-time Super Bowl champions.
Three
Well,
times Super Bowl
I know, but
champions.
back to back.
Oh, okay,
Back to
sorry,
back.
gotcha.
I got the Broncos in this game. I think that Bo Nix can win a game against Kirk Cousins. And I think that Kirk Cousins has been kind of struggling recently. So, in the Falcons team in general. So, I think this is a good enough game where I need to pick up some games on Gav. And this will give us a second swing game of the week so far. We got Jets, Colts. I'm picking the Jets. He's picking the Colts. I got the Broncos in this game.
I got the Falcons here. I think this is a great bounce back week in a hard game situation. Usually, when I say bounce back games, it's usually easy games to bounce back with, but I think this is a good, hard team to get a bounce back win against.
It is, and that's also another reason why I don't want to take the Falcons. I mean, last week that was terrible.
It was.
It was terrible, and it could have been momentum from New Orleans getting their coach and being at home and divisional game. Anything can happen in divisional games, but I don't know, something about that game really. Obviously, I picked them before, but obviously I had the thought back in my mind. I got feelings telling me Denver right now. So I'm going
I
Denver.
like it.
Going Denver.
I'm going Falcons, but the next game in a 4:25 slot. Is this CBS?
I think it is CBS. I
hope
think
it
we're
is.
getting Jim.
Jim Nantz and I was about to say Phil Simms.
No, not Phil
Jim
Simms.
Nantz and Tony Romo will be on their way to Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New
Yeah.
York, about
Yeah.
20 minutes south of Buffalo. And the Bills are hosting the Kansas City Chiefs in what is the biggest game for both teams so far this year.
I'm nervous. I'm excited, but nervous. It feels like a playoff game coming up this week.
As it should be.
It's how it's felt every year with the Allen Mahomes era. And also, by the way, I want to shout out my dad, Frank, going to the game this week.
Nice.
Also,
Nice.
reached out. He has a contact through one of my cousins, Angela. Shout out Angela from Oklahoma. She has one of her friends works at CBS Sports. Got in contact with Jim Nantz, and the Water Buffalo Club, which my dad is on, will be featured somehow on the pregame show
Nice.
on CBS. So if you're
Nice.
watching JJ Watt and the crew, Matt Ryan and all those guys on that crew before, look for that red fuzzy hat, that tall yellow
It makes its way everywhere.
red fuzzy hat. Look for my dad. Look for the Water Buffalo Club. They will be featured at some point throughout the tailgate show, which is pretty cool.
Love that. That's
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, but also Maria, Tom, Claudia all go into the game as well.
Nice. Got
Gonna
the whole
be,
fam
Gonna be a
going, man.
packed out. Lisa's not going.
Lisa's
Lisa's not going. She'll be watching from home, cheering on the Bills just as loud as she would be if she was there. She doesn't love going though. Anyway, I got the Bills in this game. I don't think I can pick against them. It'd be really hard for me to pick against them in this game. And it's pretty easy for you to pick against the Bills in this game.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Which is fair. Yeah, I get it.
And I know I'm gonna get a really nasty text from my father when he hears this right now. But let me put it like this, because there's light at the end of the tunnel, even though I'm picking the Chiefs right now, because Charlie and I have this theory and it works every single time. Whoever wins in the regular season loses in the playoffs.
I mean, it's been the Bills the last few times.
So this year they're
Yeah.
changing the script. The script writers changed it. The Bills lose at home in the regular season, but they're going to meet up in the AFC Championship or divisional. And the Bills are going to get it done in the playoffs, but not now. And I think the way this Chiefs team just rallied for one play, and Mahomes didn't play his best game, and he's going against a defense where I'm not going to bust too many chops in that defense, but there's some holes in it. And I think this might be a game where he can light it up.
Yeah, especially over the top there, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean. If you know what I mean, if you watch the games. But I do actually think that our corners will be able to lock up DeAndre Hopkins at the very least. We do struggle, however, especially without Matt Milano. We struggled in the Tyreek era with those fast receivers. So I think this is a game where Xavier Worthy gets back on track. I know I was just talking about him struggling a lot, but this is the type of game where the Chiefs know, like I said, with the creativity as well, this is a game where they know they can get back on track offensively with him specifically and do those schemes to kind of work against the Bills, because Dorian Williams and Balin Spector and not Tyrell Dotson. Jeez. I'm totally blanking right now. This is insane. Anyway, our linebackers, I mean, I don't think they're good enough to cover the underneath routes like that, but I think that this defense is good enough to cover the over the top. So I think the Chiefs, if anything, it's going to be a Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce kind of game, not a DeAndre Hopkins beat you deep kind of game.
Nice.
So-
All right. So with that being said, Charlie's not going against his Bills.
Can't.
But I have to go against his Bills.
Totally fair.
So
Totally fair.
next game we have the Sunday night game. It's an interesting Sunday night game. I'd much rather see the previous game.
This is a huge
honestly.
game, though.
It is.
It's
It is.
a very important game.
And that's why they flex it.
right.
But I would rather watch Chiefs Bills Sunday night. But that is a 425 staple.
It is.
It's a staple.
It is. I was just
cannot
going to
be
say
anything
that. Yeah, on
else.
CBS, it's a staple of Jim and Tony.
Yeah.
As much as I don't love Jim calling all the games with the Bills,
I love it.
it's classic, and I appreciate sports classics. So I got to
This
appreciate
is an
that.
IC.
I
This
got to
will be an
appreciate
IC.
that. But anyway, we're talking about the 8 seed Bengals right here, or 9 seed Bengals against the 6 seed Chargers sitting at 6-3. Bengals sitting at 4-6. This is a game where you can even the scales in the AFC,
Yeah,
or
man.
the Chargers can really separate that competition there, especially if the Broncos get that win at home against Atlanta too. So
Big game.
big games this week, and I got the Bengals in this game.
I also do. The Chargers played the Titans last week. Barely squeaked by. It was by 10 points, but they kind of just barely squeaked by. I really like how the Bengals played against the Ravens. For that reason, I'm choosing the Bengals, because if they could light the way they did last week, I think they could do it against the Chargers.
The Chargers don't have a guy that can cover Jamar Chase, so
Not at
I
all.
got the Bengals in this game. The last game, we got a Lone Star matchup right here.
Such a Monday night game.
It is a Monday night game, ESPN game, but I do always enjoy when these teams play, because there is some sort of kind of
There's a little rivalry.
there's a little beef
Yeah.
between the teams.
A little rivalry.
Texans at Cowboys. especially with everything that's been going on with Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons. That little feud they got going, and Mike McCarthy, the little
Trio.
that little feud triangle they got going on right there. I got the Texans in this game. You really cannot pick Cooper Rush in the Cowboys right now, even with the healthy CeeDee Lamb. I mean, it's only one guy against the whole good team. So, especially Nico Collins coming back as well.
For all those reasons, I'm also choosing the Texans, and I think this is a perfect time to get a bounce-back week on the road.
Especially a good game for C.J. Stroud. He hasn't had a clean game in a few weeks.
And yeah, he needs a clean game.
He needs a clean game, and it could come this week, but you know how notorious Trayvon Diggs is for getting picks, and he got another one last week, so could do it again this week, but probably unlikely. It should be a good game. Should be a Texans win. Once again, Cardinals, Panthers, Giants, Bucks on a bye. And
we're really happy about the Panthers and Giants.
Yeah,
part.
really. Yeah, glad they played in Germany last week, which, by the way, was a good game if you did watch it.
It was. It was just like...
But it was the Giants and the Panthers.
It was such a Giants-Panthers game.
It was. But Bryce Young getting the team to 3-7.
I liked that. I liked Bryce Young getting a win. He looked really happy.
Our records, I'm 95-57 before this week. Gavin is 98-54. See if I can close the gap. I can potentially tie it if I win all 3 swing games this week.
Yeah.
Would be pretty huge. If not, it could be a 6-game cushion for Gav. Who knows? Guess we're going to have to find out after this week. Stay tuned. Make sure you're listening next week. We got more coming.
Oh, yeah. We got lots more coming.
Lots more coming. Yeah. You got anything, Gav?
Let's have a week. Let's have a weekend. Let's have a Sunday. Let's have a Saturday.
Let's have a Thursday, too.
Let's have a Friday. Let's have every day be a day.
Let's have a week.
Let's have a week.
Let's go.
All right.
Have a day. Have a day.
All right. Have a day.